Rowan Atkinson gets all the credit. Baldrick gets all the laughs. But nobody, and I mean nobody, ever talks about the two men sitting behind the scenes, writing every single brilliant word you've ever quoted from Blackadder. Every perfect insult, every cunning plan, every devastating one-liner. It was all written by two men, Ben Elton and Richard Curtis. Today, we're fixing that. We're going deep into the writing duo that turned a struggling medieval comedy into one of the greatest television shows ever made. Welcome back to the Forgotten Celebrities channel, and trust me, by the end of this video, you will never watch Blackadder the same way again. Let's get into it. Let's go back to 1983. BBC greenlights a brand new historical comedy. Big budget, filmed on location. Rowan Atkinson, already a rising star. Richard Curtis already showing serious writing talent. On paper, it should have been absolutely perfect. But something wasn't clicking. Series 1, called The Blackadder, was uneven. Edmund felt more like a bumbling idiot than the sharp, cunning character audiences would eventually fall in love with. The jokes were inconsistent. The pacing felt off. Some episodes worked brilliantly, others fell completely flat. Ratings were decent, but only decent. Reviews were mixed. And behind the scenes, there were real doubts about whether a second series would even happen. Richard Curtis sat down and made a very honest decision. The writing needed a completely new voice. Someone sharper, someone faster, someone who could bring real fire and political edge to the comedy. And that someone was Ben Elton. Ben Elton in the early 1980s was already one of the most exciting comedy voices in Britain. Sharp, political, fast-talking, and completely fearless when it came to taking on authority and power through humor. When Curtis brought Elton on board for Series 2 Blackadder 2, three massive things changed immediately. One, Edmund's entire character was flipped upside down. No longer a fool. Now the smartest man in every room, permanently surrounded by absolute idiots. That one single change completely transformed the dynamic of the show forever. 2, the dialogue became legendary. Insults so perfectly crafted that audiences would still be quoting them 40 years later. Lines that felt almost impossibly clever and yet completely natural at the same time. 3, the satire grew real teeth. Elton's political instincts meant Blackadder wasn't just laughing at history, it was laughing at power, at class, at the dangerous stupidity of people in authority. Jokes with a real point behind them. Blackadder 2 was a massive, undeniable hit. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. And suddenly the show wasn't just popular, it was a cultural phenomenon. So what exactly made Curtis and Elton such a special combination? Let me break it down simply. Richard Curtis is a master of warmth and emotional structure. He knows how to make audiences genuinely care about characters. He builds scenes slowly and carefully and then lands an emotional punch you never saw coming. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill. Love Actually, that warmth and humanity is pure Curtis. Ben Elton, on the other hand, is a machine gun of sharp, intelligent wit. His jokes arrive fast, they hit hard, and they almost always carry a real meaning underneath the laugh. He doesn't just write funny, he writes smart funny. There's always something underneath the surface. Now put those two brains on the same script together. You get comedy that is lightning fast and emotionally grounded. Characters that make you laugh out loud and that you genuinely care about. Satire that entertains you and challenges you at the same time. That combination is almost impossible to find. Most sitcoms have warmth or wit, rarely both together. Blackadder had both in every single episode. And that is precisely why it still holds up today, decades later. better than almost any other British comedy ever produced. Part 4 Blackadder goes forth, the masterpiece, but the greatest achievement of Curtis and Elton, their absolute crowning masterpiece, came in 1989 with Blackadder Goes Forth. Set in the trenches of World War I. Think about that for a moment. A comedy sitcom. Set in the single most devastating, traumatic, heartbreaking conflict in human history. That should not work. That should be offensive and completely wrong. But Curtis and Elton pulled off something almost miraculous. They created a show that was genuinely, brilliantly funny, and simultaneously deeply respectful of the real human tragedy underneath every single joke. Every episode, Blackadder desperately tries to escape the trenches. Every episode, he fails. And underneath every laugh there is this quiet, growing, unavoidable dread. Because you always know, you always feel it. These men are not coming home. And then the final scene arrives. No jokes, no punchline, no clever one-liner. Just soldiers walking slowly over the top into silence. Poppies blooming, fade to black. Audiences were completely shattered. Critics called it one of the greatest endings in British television history. And it only worked, it only hit that hard, because Curtis and Elton had spent the entire series making you genuinely love these characters first. That is not just good writing, that is genius. After Blackadder, both men went on to remarkable solo careers. Curtis gave the world 4 Weddings, Notting Hill, and Love, actually becoming one of Britain's most beloved filmmakers. Elton wrote the hugely successful We Will Rock You musical, and continued as one of the country's most respected authors and comedians. 2 very different paths, but both carrying the same Dana smart, sharp storytelling that genuinely respects its audience. So next time you watch Blackadder, next time Edmund delivers a perfect insult, next time Baldrick presents a plan of spectacular uselessness, next time that final scene leaves you sitting in complete silence, remember the 2 men at a typewriter, pushing each other harder, making each other better, writing television history one brilliant line at a time. Ben Elton and Richard Curtis didn't just write a sitcom, they wrote a legacy. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop your answer in the comments which Blackadder series had the best writing. See you in the next one. Subscribe the channel to connect with us for old TV shows updates.